It is too early in the friggin' morning for this crap, man, but here we are. Brewing coffee at, I ain't even supposed to be awake yet. There we go. Old coffee gone. Oh. Yeah, it is officially way too early in the morning for this, but here we are. Welcome on back to TK's Garage, and it looks like we just got 900 layoffs here in the U.S., and all the Canada and Mexico plants are effectively shut down. Roll the intro. Probably would help if I actually plug my microphone in, huh? I told you it's too early. Welcome on back to TK's Garage. Look, I don't know what Elkin is doing right now. This is an unplanned video. I already had videos set for today, but we got to get this in. Stellantis idles plants in now Mexico. They got stuff out of their holding yard and tried to get it across the border before midnight. I can tell you for sure there are several truckloads and trains, I guess. I didn't know they ran trains from Mexico. Pause. And that's my coffee maker. It's too early, I'm sorry. From Mexico to the United States. Evidently, some of those Stellantis didn't pay the tariff on. They rather turned it around. They didn't even try to import it after the 12/01 deadline. They had to know that the border was going to get slammed with all kinds of products. This is nothing new. So, let's talk about what's going on right now. So they've idled plants in Mexico and Canada. Now, we talked a little bit about this in a video this morning I shot last night as we were getting the breaking news that Windsor Assembly was going to be down. Now, full disclosure, they do have these shutdowns, but usually towards the summer for like a model year refresh or like a couple of week retooling, 2 to 3 weeks, sometimes a month. But this isn't because of that. This is 100% due to the tariffs. So Stellantis put out some statements, and they said that they are pausing production at 2 assembly plants in Canada and Mexico as the company attempts to navigate President Donald Trump's new round of 25% automotive tariffs. The actions will result in about 900 U.S. representative employees from the UAW at supporting plants getting temporarily laid off, in addition to 4,500 hourly workers at the Canadian plant in Windsor. Ford Motor and General Motors also responded to the tariffs, but not by idling production. Ford responded in a video we published earlier today by doing employee pricing. I guess they want to blow out their existing inventory, which, okay. Stellantis is trying to play the let's see what the president does in 30 days game. I think Elkin is playing a very dangerous game of chicken here. The day that Donald Trump won the presidency and made it clear that he was going to institute tariffs, John Elkin, who was the de facto CEO at the time, okay, well, not really. Tavares was still CEO, but before 2025 came around, we're through Q1 now, all right? And I'm supposed to be doing videos on what the Q1 earnings are and what my sources have told me. And those are, to be honest, are really taking a back burner to this stuff, because this is showing why Elkin did make some good moves and gave some autonomy to the CEOs at Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, and Ram. They're making bad moves here. Okay, so we already know that if the vehicles are assembled here and under the trade agreement, this is something that's not really been talked about. If the parts are made in Mexico, Canada, or the United States, there's no tariff on the parts, okay? That's under the USMCA. Now, and I've seen reports like, oh, he tore up the agreement. That is not true, okay? So parts that are manufactured in Mexico, Canada, or US or the United States, there's no tariff on those, okay? Obviously. The tariff comes in if the vehicle is not assembled in the United States, which means the parts can come from Mexico, the parts could come from Canada. The vehicle has to be assembled in the United States to avoid the 25% tariff. Stellantis would rather pay slave wages, is what I would call it. I mean, and people get mad for me for saying this, but I don't know what you call $3 an hour. All right, $3.10. Now I have friends that are down in Mexico. Shout out to my dude Mexican Spec. That's SPEC. Before somebody thinks I'm saying something else. Who like buys and sells vehicles from Mexico and exports them to different countries. Okay, that's what he does. He tried to make it clear to me that there's more like benefits packages and stuff for them down there, so that their pay is probably higher than $3 an hour. Now, I've reached out to the sources that I have at the Saltillo plant to be like, hey, can you clarify this for me? And I haven't heard back yet. What I do know is I have pay stubs that show that these people make $3.10 an hour on average. Okay. While a UAW represented employee, and I'm just talking salary, I'm not talking insurance and benefits, is somewhere around $33 an hour. So about 10 times more. But when you look at the actual numbers of what it costs to build the vehicle, ship it to the United States, put it through the inventory network and get it to a dealer, the savings from Stellantis for building that vehicle in Mexico is around 11%. Paying a 25% tariff means that they're going to pay about 16% more to build their trucks in Mexico than to build them at the Warren Assembly Plant. Elkin's known this for a long time. There's a reason why way back in 2018, Sergio was looking at moving those trucks to Warren. And this was under the last Trump administration. This isn't rocket science here, okay? These tariffs are not going anywhere right away. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I am. I hope I'm wrong about it. But, people, I've been getting emails and stuff, and people are like, oh, the Senate's already voting. They're going to overturn these tariffs. No, they're not. The House is not going to take it up. In fact, because of this crap and because of the Senate doing what they're doing, Mike Johnson is not voting on anything this week. And stuff that we could have been getting done about emissions with the Congressional Review Acts and some of the other bills that were going to be proposed or pushed this week, those are all being put off now because of jackasses in the Senate that want to side, which I'm all for bipartisanship. Let me be very clear. And much as people try to peg me as a Republican, I'm not. It's common sense. All right. Like, can we start a party called Common Sense? I'd be all about it. This is just ridiculous at this point. So now, like, stuff that we wanted to get done, we're not going to get done in the House. So emission stuff is going to get put off, and I'm going to have to cut a different video about that. And 900 U.S. workers are temporarily laid off. I think it is going to be temporary because Stellantis doesn't have a choice. They're either going to have to fire up production, and they're going to have to eat that 25%. When if Elkin would have already made the move, there'd probably be like 40% already through the retool. While they could have been still building trucks in Mexico, the Wagoneer isn't selling. You have enough inventory. You could have shut down Warren and retooled that crap and been 40% through the retool to be building those trucks in Warren and getting those 1,500 people you already laid off their jobs back. So this falls solely on John Elkan's shoulders for not understanding what's going on. And not even that. The other thing that pisses me off is you've been in regular communication with the president. And before someone says, you don't know that, TK. Oh, I do. 100% I do. I know how many phone calls he's made to the president. I know how many times he's begged for a waiver on tariffs, and he's not getting one. The president made it clear to you what you needed to do, and you wanted to play games. Thinking you're playing chicken, and you lost. And now, you're putting your entire company's portfolio at risk playing games. Because what are you going to do when this inventory sells? The Charger is just starting to get a little bit momentum with these lease deals, and you're moving them mostly on leases. But what happens? I guess the Charger's not coming this summer, right? The 6-pack? Ontario shut down. You're not going to fire that up for 3 weeks. Unless you're tooling up to start building the gas engines, you're still going to pay 25% on to get those into the country. I don't know. Needless to say, it is interesting for sure. We'll have to see what happens, but we had an email that went out. This is breaking right now. I just got a copy of this email from some of the employees, and it says. So this came in. This was an email that went out to a bunch of Stellantis employees by Antonio Filosa. That is the Chief Operating Officer of North America, and basically saying the plant downtime is tied to the tariffs as the company reviews its options. He says, quote, "We are continuing to assess the medium and long-term effects of these tariffs on our operations, but also have decided to take some immediate actions, including temporarily pausing production at some of our Canadian and Mexican assembly plants. Those actions will impact some employees at several of our U.S. powertrain and stamping facilities that support those operations. The Canadian plants produce the Chrysler Pacific minivan and the recently released Dodge Charger Daytona EV. The Mexico plant produces the Jeep Compass SUV and the Jeep Wagoneer S EV. Those are all suspended, effective immediately. So those models are no longer going to be available until further notice." Wow. Filosa also said, quote, the current environment creates uncertainty, but we're ensuring employees that the company, which we are continue to search for a new CEO, is very engaged with all of our key stakeholders, including top government leaders, unions, suppliers, and dealers in the U.S., Canada, and Mexico. Well, the only good thing for Stellantis is shutting down production will help them get rid of inventory, but I have a feeling that shutting down production is also going to be a red flag for dealers, and they're going to start jacking up prices. We've seen Dodge Charger EVs almost at 50% off. If they're not getting any more of those, I think we're going to start seeing some insane scumbag activity at dealerships. That's just me. But effective immediately, according to Antonio Filosa, the Wagoneer S, the Charger EV Daytona, and the Chrysler Pacifica minivan are canceled until further notice. Breaking news. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, stay petty, my friends.